Hello and welcome to the ABW radio show. This is odd. All the adults are away and they left the children in charge, which isn't always the best idea. But we'll soldier on anyway. Kris can't be here right now. He's moved house. If you haven't heard, I'm sure you heard him on the podcast in midweek. Yeah, he's moved house. Apparently, Google Maps have put him right in the sea. So I don't really know how he's going to get internet out there, but I'm sure it'll be an interesting method of working that out. I am joined with two others though. We got our regular Karl, the guy who knows what tube to take wherever you want to go. How are you doing, Karl?
Not too bad, Tom.
Yes, I'm surviving. Just got taking over right now, but I will give it back at the end. I do promise. So also joined by Akshay, all the way from India, I believe. Am I right in saying that?
Yeah, I'm on vacation, so decided to come someplace warmer, 100 degrees Fahrenheit warmer. So
Very nice. Liam Canton out. Thank you. I'm glad that all the Kris stuff has already started on me, so that's brilliant. Okay, so we'll go straight into the match, really. If I just the lineup, Karl, just talk it through. Were you happy with what we started with? And yeah, give us your thoughts.
Yeah, I think that was the strongest team that we could have started with. I know it was touch and go whether Czech was going to start, and I think that's the only sort of maybe different lineup I would have picked. I think everyone else who started was our kind of our strongest team at present, or especially our on-form team at present. So I was very happy with what Arsene Wenger picked.
Yeah, I'm pretty much with you. Akshay, your thoughts on the lineup?
yeah, I mean, pretty much what Karl said. I couldn't have picked a better lineup. You know, you go with the strongest, and most confident lineup you have at the point. El Nini is becoming a fan favorite very quickly. Not only with us, I've had friends who are fans of like Man United, Chelsea, and they just texting me saying that how good is this El Nini guy? And he has a 98% pass completion in the first 30 minutes. That's saying something. So, I mean, again, like to Karl's point, Czech was the only thing that I was about, but Ospina's doing a really good job. I have to give it to him.
Yeah, certainly. That's bringing up Ospina. I mean, Chet was on the bench today. It's good to see he's back finally. Karl, the fact he was on the bench, I'm very much in the camp that if he's good enough to be on the bench, he's good enough to start. Because if Ospina gets injured in the first minute, this is something that John said in the past, then Czech's got to play that 89 minutes that are left. So if he's on the bench, why isn't he starting anyway?
I definitely agree with you, Tom. For me, if you're good enough, if you're fit enough to start on the bench, you are fit enough to start. Because like you said, first minute someone gets injured, you have to play. So, but I guess Arsene Wenger is trying to ease him in. I guess he thought Watford weren't that much of a risk, which I guess he's brave to think that following the FA Cup sort of game. But yeah, I definitely agree with you. But I guess we don't play for another week, so giving them another week's rest is kind of no harm.
Yeah, no, I certainly agree. Akshay, just in talking of other players coming back, just before we go into the match, it's good to see Wilshere was back in training in midweek, and that's going to be a huge boost for us when he's back, isn't it?
No, it is absolutely going to be. I love that the timing of that announcement was April 1st. They started with, oh, this is not an April Fool's joke. I picked up in my feed and all that was going was, it's hard to get into this team with a fully fit Cazorla and Wilshere. And I think Wilshere is going to work doubly hard because he wants to get into the Euro team, wants to make that late entry into the England Euro team. And I think right now the way the team is playing, and we'll come to that I'm sure later on, they're essentially going for broke. We have nothing to lose at this point. Except for maybe going below third. So he's going to be playing with that hunger. And he has a great shot. He has great talent, so I think the timing's right.
Yeah, certainly agree. So the game today, it was off the back of the international break where people never really seem to know whether an international break comes at the right time. Some people say off the back of a win like Everton, it could jitter our form. It's like we wanted to play a game as soon as we beat Everton just to keep the momentum going. But certainly how we started the game, it didn't seem like there'd even been an international break. I mean, Karl, it was such a fast start, weren't it? And it was quite reflective of the Everton game in some ways.
Yeah, I was saying on Twitter and also to Jason as well, like it's brilliant to sort of see us start fast, and we haven't done that too often in the past, but it's good that when we're on top as well, we score, and I think that's very important. When you're on top in the game and you're playing well, you need to score, and I think we capitalised on some of our some of our chances. I mean, today could have been easily 6, 7, 8 nil easily because we played that well. I just think it's again to go back to it. Some of our finishing was a bit woeful, but no, I thought today we were talking last week, and I think we were saying if we do the basic stuff well, then we play well, and that's what we did today. The basic things we done well. The passing, I thought our passing was very good today. There's only a few passes that went astray, but just the simple things like the one-touch passing that we do, that we're renowned for, and that sort of coming back into our game. I think just this really basic things that we done well today, and that's what sort of made us get the victory.
Yeah, certainly. And Akshay, do you want to talk us through the first goal? It was a great goal at the end of the day. I mean, a bit of luck, but it's good to see Sanchez on the score sheet.
I'm positive that there were people still getting into their seats at that point, and I can't remember, myself celebrating, going, "Oh shit, this actually went in." But yeah, I mean, Sanchez has been under tremendous pressure, both from the press as well as, from himself, because I think he's a player who holds himself to very high standards. And given that he got on the score sheet and just made all the right moves, and Sanchez already, we know he's got this tremendously low center of gravity, and he's able to turn on a dime. My ankles hurt looking at him turn sometimes because he was that sharp. But that's what we want to see. We want to see, like I said earlier, we're playing for broke right now, and I think it's great to see him on the score sheet. Absolutely.
Yeah,
and the finish as well, right? So clinical finish.
Yeah, definitely. And Karl, that ball from Iwobi was brilliant. One of his passing seems to be getting much better as well now.
It was absolutely brilliant, and I said in the group, like, what must Theo be thinking, like, because you can't see someone like Theo doing a ball like that, but it was absolutely pin perfect, that put it right on his head, and that's what we want. That's kind of, we're not renowned for putting in crosses, in our team, but when we have someone that can do that, and brilliant talent, that's what we need. Sometimes we do need a plan B. Sometimes you can't always go through the middle. You do need to go wide and cross it in.
Yeah, certainly. And soon after the goal, we got a bit that meant a lot to a lot of people, and it was the Rocky Rocastle tribute, which was obviously very well received around the grounds and very nice to see. So I think you both agree with that. But moving on in the game, there was I don't know if you remember, it was quite early on the game, but there was a bit of a penalty shout with Welbeck.
Yes.
He ran down the left-hand side into the box, and Prudle seemed to shove him over, and the ref sort of didn't even bat an eyelid at it. I mean, Akshay, was that a penalty for you?
Yeah, I think it was, but it was one of those things I can see why. I mean, here's the thing, right, Tom? This is very tricky when you're asking that question after we've won 3-0. It's to say that, is it a penalty? And I might actually say, it could be, versus if we lost and going, I don't know, you don't give all that stuff, right? But no, I think it's 50-50 case. I can see why the referee couldn't give it. Probably obscured view of the incident, but yeah, you win some, you lose some.
Yeah, Karl, what thoughts on the penalty?
I thought it was a penalty. You can't barge into someone like that and sort of not give a penalty. So for me, it really is a penalty.
Yeah, I'm in agreement. I think it wasn't shoulder to shoulder. It was more, he aimed more lower down his body, and it was a bit of a clash and a bit of a clumsy foul from the Austrian defender. But it remained 1-0 for a while, and certainly in the late 20 minutes and early 30s, it was a bit jittery. The passing became a bit more sloppy, and I think that we lost a bit of rhythm. I mean, was that more the fact? I felt it was a bit like, if it was 0-0, it was a point where the crowd really could have got on the back of the players. And Karl, do you think that if this was, say, 3 games ago, when the form wasn't great, could it have been a bit of an issue going forwards in terms of the atmosphere in the ground when we get this part of the game where the passing isn't flowing? Do you think possibly the crowd turn on the team a bit too easily in that sort of instance?
Yeah, I think they do because they get frustrated. When we, like I said, when we're playing well, you got to take your chances. You have to. And sort of when we're being laboured with our passing and the pass is not going well, and you know we're just not doing the basic things well, then the team, the crowd obviously see that as well, and the groans start growing, and the groans turn into boos, and then the boos start shouting and abusing the players. Me and Tom, we go to games, so obviously we know what it's like in the ground. But today I thought that I know, sort of going back on with myself, but just the basic things were done well, and it's just when you start with the basic things, then the harder things become better, and I think today that's what we've done.
Yeah, yeah, I think so. And then actually, I mean, after this period, we just blew them away with another great goal. I mean, Sanchez on that right hand side has been a revelation since been put over there. I've personally been saying for months now to put him on that right hand side because it's a more natural position, and that led to the goal. I mean, talk us through it.
Yeah, I mean, I would say just to touch briefly on what you're discussing with Karl as well. I think the crowd gets on the back of Arsenal sometimes just because sometimes you kind of look at it and you're like, come on, don't mess this up. We have this. You don't. We've seen many times in the season we go one up and they come back 2 goals, right? So you can't sometimes doubt the crowd. But no, coming to the second goal, Sanchez returns the favor. You know, gotta love. I mean, the finish was great, but I gotta love that pass. It was just pinpoint, zoop, just coming in from the right side. Again, Sanchez absolutely ruined Nathan Aki, however you pronounce his name, on the right side. I mean, starting to skin him right from third, fourth, fifth, sixth minute, right up till that assist as well. So I think it's a great morale booster for somebody like Iwobi who's trying to get in, become an establishment, and provide a little bit of a glimmer of hope for an Arsenal team that's been messing up at the start of this year. So
Yeah, yeah, certainly. And Carl, I mean, that at half time, that's where we went in. We went in at 2-0. Second game now, we've gone in 2-0 up. And while it's good, do you not feel a slight element of frustration? Why hasn't this been occurring the last few matches? Because, I mean, it just seems so easy recently.
I know it's frustrating. I sort of said it in a tweet earlier. When there's no pressure, we seem to play free, like we're okay, and like I never really sort of got that sort of pressure side in my head. Like I never thought it was the actual thing, but it technically is. It really is. When that your back's against the wall and the chips are up, like you as players, you obviously feel it because now, their players are not stupid. They must know that it's going to take a monumental effort to sort of win the title.
yep.
So now I think they're saying, well, we're playing free. We can just do what we want. The and we're nice. The one game a week. We're not in. We're going to take it easy. And it seems like when they can take it easy, they produce results like the Everton one and the one today.
Yeah, certainly. Before we go into second half, just a quick shout out to the chat box. I think we got quite a few regulars in there, maybe a few new people. Everything rude. I can see you always there. Thanks for the thinking that you're already canting out, which is nice to see. I wouldn't expect any less. Ark and Tiger, Timmy PB. I think you're new. I haven't seen you before. But yeah, it's great to have you guys in it. We'll be on to questions later in the show, so stick with us. So second half starts, Akshay, and it couldn't have started any better, could it? Hector Bellerin getting another goal for the club.
Yeah, it could not have been any better. It was, I mean, the whole movement was a little bit of a scramble, but it just shows, it sort of echoes what we were talking about earlier about, trying to get on the ball really quickly and try and kill the game off as soon as possible because, again, let's face it, sometimes you have to treat these games with apprehension because we have gone 2 up. If Watford struck one back, we would have been a bundle of nerves again. So great to see that. Hector Bellerin, another guy I want to see succeed at the club. So it's good for him to chime in. I think if I heard it correctly, it's his first goal in the Premier League in a year, the last one coming against Liverpool. So I mean, ultimately, I don't know, was it given to him or was it credited as an own goal? Because it was
I haven't checked. Carl, do you know?
It was a pretty bad deflection.
Because it was on target.
Yeah, I'd assume it would be.
It is.
All right. So yeah, I mean, great. Fantasy football people rejoice because keeps a clean sheet. Gets, I think, you get an assist, and he got a goal. So again, good to see him get on the score sheet.
Yeah, yeah, and I think it's something that Bellerin will take forward. I mean, it's I mean, Karl, it's been a bit of an up and down season for Bellerin. I mean, the end of last season he was so good for us, and this season he's had games where he's been in and out, and other games where he's been super impressive. Like last week against Everton was probably his best performance of the season. It was excellent. Do you think it's something just because he's the kid, because he's only young, he's going to have these little dips, and it's so much pressure for a kid to be playing at Arsenal and playing in such an important position at right back. And do you think the dips are because of his age, or is it something else?
No, I do. I'm a very big fan of Bellerin. I do. I think he's going to be absolutely brilliant. The older he gets, I do think it's not ability, definitely not, because he's got the ability to get up and down the pitch, and the more games he plays, the more experience he will get. And I think it's just experience. It really is. When knowing when to go forward, when to stay back, when to tackle, and know when not to dive in. I think that's what it is. And the more he plays, the more he'll get used to sort of how the game flows and who is playing with him. And I don't think it helps the amount of times the person in front of him has been chopped and changed. I think that has sort of put him off his game as well, because if you've got a constant person in front of you, you tend to know what they're going to do. So you know when to go forward, or if I go forward, they're going to cover me, or think, oh, well, I better stay back. But because he's had, what has he had? He's had Ramsey playing in front of him, he's had Campbell, he's had Theo, Iwobi, and now Sanchez. So that's 5 people playing in front of him, so he's not used to sort of having a regular partner. Just how the centre backs have regular partners, you need a regular partner in front of you to know when to go forward and when to stay back.
Yeah, yeah. And then moving forward into the game, I mean, Iwobi hit the bar. It's another chance he had. I think it's one of the aspects I've said he's been so good at the ball close to his feet in a tight situation. He gets out of his feet, works it into a space where he can take a shot or make a pass. And it was an excellent shot that only just slightly went onto the bar. And I think it was something that we did all game was just keep the ball in their half. And to be honest, it's something in other matches where we've allowed people to put pressure onto us. In other games, we've been capped in opposition's half, but never been able to get into their box. Whereas this game, get into their box into a lot more free flow, a lot more space. I mean, there was elements in the game actually where you saw, I think it was Özil and Sanchez. They played about 10 passes back to back on the right hand side.
Yep.
Yeah,
Exactly.
it was brilliant. I mean, is this? I mean, someone mentioned it in the chat. It's because the pressure's off us now. But the players, as Özil came out of his comments saying we've messed the title up, do you think there's freedom of players now because the pressure's off and the guys think the title race is over for us and that's it?
I think so. Let me put it this way. So I think that's one of the things that I started off with as well, right? That given that we're going for broke, whatever happens happens. Karl said the same thing. The pressure is off, so we're playing. But I don't think that that's the sole reason that we're playing such good football. I think it's just essentially that the team's been a bit stable for a little while. Mohamed Elneny's clicked. Coquelin seems to have found his feet again. Welbeck's doing really well. I think there's this, what would you call it? The spirits are kind of lifted, right? That we're actually doing okay. Let's just see how far this goes, and let's not be afraid to take chances. I think what really hurts me is to see that we had Arsenal versus Watford in the FA Cup, and we played against a crappier Watford team, and we lost 2-0. Versus in this one, we played what was deemed a full-strength Watford, and we won 4-0. I think essentially what we need to do is we need to not be timid of taking chances, because there were some parts. I know we were 3-0 up, but when El Nene got the ball, the whole crowd was shooting, shouting at him, shoot, shoot. We need to be doing that. We've also seen that Iwobi's got a good shot, because you talked about the one on the crossbar. Do you remember the one in the first half where Gomez had to pull off a worldie and tip it off for a corner? So that's another option we have as a shot. Plus, we all know Jack Wilshere can shoot from distance as well. So coming into the closing 7 games, I think we might need some of those.
Yeah, yeah. Karl, we saw Giroud come on for Welbeck. Welbeck's been up front for the last 2 games, out and out, and you've got to say it's a complete different dimension for us now, isn't it? A different sort of outlet, a different style of striker that we've got I mean, is going forward, he's got to start every game, hasn't he?
Definitely, I think Welbeck gives us something that we've been kind of lacking this season, and that's movement. Moving up the pitch. You're hoping that when Theo plays, he would do exactly the same thing. Stretch people. Bring people out wide so the midfield can come into it. And unfortunately, he hasn't sort of produced what we wanted from him. And Giroud, he hasn't got the sort of pace to get in behind. He's a hold-up man. I think, like, I've always said this, the job that Giroud does, I don't think there's anyone that does it better, and I think if we had better players or sort of that could anticipate when he's going to knock the ball down and could run onto those balls, I think we would score a hell of a lot more goals. Just like, I don't know if you remember the Bournemouth game where he knocked it down to Ozil and Ozil scored. Goals like that, I think we should be scoring so much more when we play with Giroud. But what Welbeck gives us is everything. Welbeck is strong enough to hold up the ball. Welbeck is strong enough to, quick enough to run in behind and to play them fast passes. Like the goal against Everton, these quick feet, to go round the goalkeeper just like that. I don't think sort of Giroud could do that, and I don't think Theo could do that.
No, I think that Welbeck's been integral to our recent success. Obviously, the two games that we've played, he's been perfect for the runs to be made. I mean, you don't see Giroud making the run that we saw against Everton where Sanchez slipped him in. And it's just been great to see Welbeck on that up top. So we have that. And then, obviously, Iwobi came off. And actually, I'm going to let you go for gold on how you think Iwobi's done and the progression he's made since that. We've seen him play in the FA Cup against the likes of Burnley as his first sort of appearance, and he was certainly impressed us. But I don't think we expected this early the impact that he's having.
He's better than Rashford. No, but no, I've seen that. Believe me, I can't believe that people are already saying that. But I've seen some people say he's better than Rashford. No, so I think Iwobi has definitely come as a revelation. It keeps our record, if you will, of having one big find every season. This year it's Iwobi. Last year it was Bellerin. Well, last year I guess it was Coquelin, then it was Bellerin, so on and so forth. It just sort of reinstates our track record of being good finders of talent and actually giving them chances as opposed to loaning them to Vitesse. Wink, wink. So I think it's a great success story. He comes from a very illustrious lineage, so that helps. He's become a fan favorite, so that helps as well. Also, basically, again, sorry to sound repetitive, but again, we're going for broke, so it's a time where we can experiment. We can find his feet. Every single thing that he achieves, it's going to be a positive step for the team. As a result of which, I think he's just he's a PR and media sensation for Arsenal, and on the field, I think he's just lifting the players as well because somebody like Ozil needs to have somebody who receives the ball well and does something with it, either gives it to him or does something more constructive with it. I think Iwobi being on the left is offering that a little bit more than, I guess Campbell gave the assist, but he's doing it a little bit better than, Alexis Sanchez off form, for example. So right now, not a single misstep from him, keeps this trajectory going forward. I think he'll do great. I'll leave it on a question to you, though, Tom. I was just reading this on my various social medias, and it's probably worth mentioning is, let me pull it up, is it's a good thing that Iwobi chose England instead of Nigeria because him, along with Rashford, would have become the media darlings of England. Less pressure on the kid now.
Yeah,
what do you think?
Completely agree. I was really quite happy when I found out that he chose Nigeria over England. I think that, as you've seen, the perfect example of this is Jack Wilshere and the amount of media coverage that he got when he was so young coming through. Iwobi hopefully won't get that sort of attention and pressure put on him. I think that the fact that Rashford is out and scoring at the moment is one of the reasons why Iwobi won't get the same amount of media coverage, and it's quite a good smokescreen for him. So I don't think we'll see the pressure that was put on the likes of Jack Wilshere on Iwobi. So I think that's good for going forward. Coming towards the end of the match then, Karl, Theo Walcott got his goal. It was a great goal. The ball from Ozil to Campbell was exquisite, and the ball inside from Campbell was also great. The issue I have with this goal is that Walcott, for me, is a player that if he has a poor performance but scores, that's enough for him. He's very easily pleased in his performances. Do you think that's going to happen with this? Do you think this goal that he scores in the match is like, oh, I've come on and scored, maybe that'll catch the eye? Because for me, it wasn't exactly an amazing goal that was worked for him in terms of the effort that he put in for that goal. He just had to get a foot on that, as anyone else could have. So do you think it's something that is going to be a negative more than a positive for him?
I think he'll come off that pitch thinking that he's scored a worldie. I genuinely do.
Yeah.
And I think he'll, for the whole week, he'll come off thinking, well, I scored, I done well. And for me, yes, see, it's weird. His main job is to score goals. That's what he's on the pitch for, to score goals and assist and to help the team win. So he's done his job. The performance-wise, I don't know if you saw the first pass he made.
He was
the opposition.
Yeah.
And straight away, I was like, "Oh, for God's sake, really?" I just want him to come on and score have a good game. And the first thing he done, he gives it to opposition. So you're like, "Oh, for God's sake!" Yeah. But at the end of the day, he's come on, he's scored, and I think he doesn't. When he has a bad performance, he doesn't see that. He will only pick out the positives. And I know. I kind of do like England, and I personally don't think he'll get chosen for England. And I think when he doesn't get chosen for England, he will be like, why the hell haven't I been chosen for England? He won't see his bad performances, why he hasn't been chosen for England. He will just think, why haven't I been chosen for England? I'm good enough.
Yeah, I think he's definitely in the Wayne Rooney mold, where he'll believe that it should be raw
Arsenal,
quality.
The name should count. Yeah,
Arsenal should be what is chosen rather than the current form. But for me, he's nowhere near that England squad. But we'll see what happens. Hopefully that Roy Hodgson will have the backbone to not pick him and Rooney as well. He'll probably pick Rooney, but to start Rooney is the main thing for me. Okay, so that covers the game really. I wanted to talk into a bit of reactions to how players did over the international break very quickly. Giroud had a good break. Akshay, I mean, he scored and he got a little vine of himself doing a brilliant touch on the sidelines. If just want to go into Giroud, I mean, he's come on today. He had a shot at a goal with his header from a cross. I believe it was a corner that was swung in. Do you think that he's got any sort of look in starting 11 at all?
Yes, depending on the opposition, and I'll tell you why. Because I think we were talking about Welbeck earlier. Again, Karl makes an excellent point. It's a point that's come up time and again on the podcast everywhere, that Giroud works a lot more than the average striker. Giroud does more than what Robin Van Persie used to do. Blah blah blah. Agreed. Giroud also offers a certain amount of physical presence that Danny Welbeck doesn't necessarily have. Giroud's 6'2". He's about 185, 190 pounds. So he's not a light guy to manage on many defenders. So I can see him coming on as maybe an impact sub, or even starting against team we need that extra amount of physicality against, and Welbeck going and becoming the quick, nimble-footed guy who needs to do the little give and goes and possibly put the ball at the back of the net. So I think that's what Giroud's play is going to be right now to get into the starting 11, because I feel that Giroud is often a victim of tough love. He's not a world-class striker, we all know that, but he is good enough, and he's maybe even a little more than good enough. I think Arsene Wenger tries to punish him sometimes and be like, you go sit in a corner and think of all the chances you missed. So I think he'll come back stronger. I have no doubt about that.
Yeah, so the other player, Karl, I wanted to speak about was Joel Campbell. I mean, he played twice for Costa Rica. He came on today. A lot of people have been saying that they couldn't understand why he was taken out of the squad when he was, and why he wasn't getting the minutes, and I completely agree with that. I couldn't understand it. But now, with Iwobi, I don't think he's going to be getting any minutes at the moment. Do you think he stays this summer? Do you think that we offer him a new contract? What are your thoughts on Campbell?
I think personally he's done enough to sort of stay in the squad, but what I think and what Arsene Wenger thinks are two different things. With the emergence of Iwobi, yes, I agree with you, Tom. He's going to be getting far less minutes, definitely. I personally would keep him just because the amount of players that I think that are going to be leaving the sort of squad this season. I think for us to have too many may be a problem. So when you have someone who knows what it's like to play for Arsenal and sort of knows the system and can sort of just come straight into the squad is a good thing to have. So personally, I keep him this season. Next
No?
season, sorry.
Yeah, no, fair play. I agree. I think that if anyone's got to go in that wide position, it's got to be Theo Walcott to be sold. So yeah, okay, Karl, I'm going to let you open fire with your question section that you've so been liberated to. So off you go.
I just want to say thank you for everyone to submitting your questions, and obviously if you've got any more, just let me know, and I shall endeavour to answer them. I will put this to you, Akshay. This is from Everything Rude Everything. Coquelin, El Nene, Jack, Rambo, Santi, and Zelalem.
I, s-
I'm waiting for someone to do it. No, all right.
No.
Thank you. Who starts? Who's back up for next year, and who leaves?
I saw you put this in the chat box, and I'm thinking, oh crap, that's a pretty loaded gun. Um, honestly, like I like the combination that started today. So let's for a second think Kako and El Mini sitting there. Ozil sits on top of the key. I don't want him. I don't want him going off to the left side. Santi would be on the bench because essentially he's going to be 31 or 30. I think he's going to be 31 next year or 32 next year. So he may not have the legs to last the whole season. That leaves you with the problem child of Jack. I don't know. I don't know, to be honest. Jack might start the season. We might get some well-needed rotation that we've been crying out for. Rambo might find himself looking in. Zelalem's not ready. I don't think he's going to come into play at any point. At the most, he'll be limited to our Carling Cup, Capital One and FA Cup teams, or he'll go to loan for a championship team, or a bottom five or a bottom six team.
No, I agree. I don't think ZNM is ready because for me, if you're at loan at Rangers, if you're not starting at Rangers, then you can't expect to come into the sort of starting lineup of the Arsenal squad. That's just my sort of personal opinion. That's a lot. That's just a lot for a lot of our loan players. Like for me, we send players out on loan to get experience, and if they're going to the likes of Hull and Ipswich, and they can't start for them sort of teams, kind of what hope have they got to sort of come to Arsenal squad and start? I mean, the only person
No,
I
that's
so go on.
true, but that's true, Carl. But sometimes you have problem cases like Serge Gnabry. Now we rate Serge Gnabry as a decent player, and yet he could nail a start at West Bromwich, and that's not really an indicator of what a crap player he is. It just might be just poor management.
Oh yeah, that's
Devil's advocate. That's it.
no, definitely. Okay, next question from Brendan Donahue to Tom. With the rise of Iwobi, does it spell the end of Theo Walcott's Arsenal career?
Yes.
Care to elaborate?
I was just doing the characteristical response, but yeah, no, I am quite fed up. I know it's going to sound really like I'm digging the guy out and quite harsh, but honest to God, I'm quite fed up with Theo Walcott. I really think the guy hasn't improved in the way that he should have done. I really think that this guy who came in at 16, 17 years old was promised to us to be this world-beating, winning right winger, and he hasn't done that. I mean, there's been a couple of seasons where, yes, he has scored 15 plus goals a season and really looked a light for us, but he's not been consistent enough throughout his career. Yes, I know he's had injuries, but a lot of other players in our team have had injuries and have come through it and come back out of that side. You just have to look at Mesut Ozil to say that after a long injury, and hit the ground running. I think that for what we could get for him, and if someone offered me 15 million, it seems low, but I'd bite your arm off for 15 million for Theo Walcott personally. I think that with the money we've got, we can definitely bring in someone, Conor Plianka of Sevilla, someone of that ilk, to come in who could do a much better job, someone who's not just got pace, someone who can take players on, someone who can play a good pass, someone who's a consistent finisher, someone who knows what their position is more than anything and isn't going to sulk on the bench when he's not picked to play up front. I think that for me, ultimately, the morale in the side could be improved with Theo Walcott not being there. I think that sometimes you see him on the side disappointed, continuously speaking of his ambitions to be a striker when he's simply not good enough to play in that position. So that's my little rant. I'm sure he's crying his eyes out because I know he watches. So there you go.
No,
No,
I
don't
100%
let me
agree with you. Just because like Theo Walcott's been at in the Arsenal team 10 years, and he's scored less than 100 goals. So he's got, for an average, he scored less than 10 goals a season. For me, if you saying that you want to play up front, that is not good enough. And I know he's had injuries, but for me, that's technically not good enough to play for Arsenal. You know, you can go for a small team like Liverpool, and that may be good enough. But
Hey.
but it's definitely not good enough. Okay, next question from
Ask
Brendan.
yourself this one, Carl. Go for it. You
All
can
right,
include yourself in your questions, you know.
from Brendan Donahue is with the young talent being successful recently, should we try more of the youngsters next year, i.e. Tora and Akpom? Akpom, no, because I know what Akshay said, but for me, if you can't start for Hull, you can't start for Arsenal. I'm sorry, you're sent out on loan for a reason to get match experience, and you've gone to Hull to play a big part in the Championship team. No, you can't look to come to Arsenal and try and sort of get into the first team. You need much more experience. So for me, no. I mean, he can play in the League Cup or go out on loan again, and that's fine. But for me, he should be not nowhere near the first team. I mean, if he proves himself in the under-21s, then maybe give him a chance. But he can't look to try and compete in the squad or stop us buying someone better than him in the squad. So for me, no. John Terrell, yes, he's been playing really well for Birmingham lately, and I believe he scored again today. So
Yeah.
for me, John Terrell definitely should next season be in and around the first team squad. 100%. He's got to have his chance because he must be looking at. He's definitely got to be looking at Iwobi thinking, you know, I can sort of get into this squad. You know, Iwobi should be sort of the linchpin for all the players in the youth team squad thinking, you know, we can make it, you know. So personally, yes, Terrell, yes, and the rest of them, I'm not too sure.
I'll just tag on the end of that and say that the only issue with Terrell is that the position he occupies is Mesut Ozil's position. That's what's going to stop him getting into that side, is because he's been playing that at Birmingham. And I mean, you mentioned the fact to look at Iwobi. Well, Iwobi must have been looking at Bellerin. So there's clearly an effect that's running through the squad.
These guys are not the first. I mean, you said, you know, the youth squads might be looking at Iwobi, and you said Iwobi was looking at Bellerin, but this has been going on for a while, right from Kieran Gibbs,
yeah,
so on and so forth. So every year it's someone. So I don't think that should ever stop people getting in.
Go on then, Karl.
All right. Next question for Akran Tiger. Considering Iwobi was £175 a week up until very recently, and the pay rise up to 10 grand, is he best value pound for pound player in the entire Premier League right now? To Akshay.
Again, yet another loaded question. Short answer, no. And that's only because of the fact that it's too early. I mean, this is not an anomaly. We often see that players who are very promising are tied down to high four-figure or five-figure a week salaries just so that they don't attract attention. I mean, we were talking about this just earlier in the episode right now about Rashford. Rashford scored those goals, and apparently Man United pulled a similar deal on him to ward off interests from other clubs. But to call him pound for pound player, best pound for pound player in the entire EPL right now, hard to say, but I'm inclined to say no, just because it's too soon. It's just too soon.
I agree. I definitely agree. I think I don't want to put too much pressure on the guy. You know, he's just come into the squad, and you know he's playing well. And like you said earlier, I'm glad he didn't pick England to play for England, because right now we would be saying that, oh, he's going to be the best in the world. He has to go to the Euros. You know, so I'm kind of glad that he chose Nigeria. So the pressure's kind of off him. He won't be so much in the limelight, and I think that's a really good thing.
Bills D actually puts a comment in the comment section. You can be better value than those Leicester players, which is true.
True.
Which is true.
Another question from Stephen Kelly. What's the most integral part of our squad when everyone's fit? when it comes to this part of the season. So, what do you think, Tom?
Uh, for me, it's got to be the defence. I think because I mean it's more about we cannot lose a game if we want to be in this title. If we want to win the league, we cannot lose a game. And to not lose a game, I know you have to score goals to win matches, but at the end of the day, if you're not conceding goals, then it's highly likely you're not likely to win that match. I think that Gabriel and Koscielny have formed a partnership. I'm not going to say it's perfect, but I certainly say it's certainly temporary and it's working. I think Monreal and Bellerin we've now been extremely consistent as we needed them to be. And Monreal more than anything. I mean, someone said to me the other day you should be up for the PFA awards, and I was like, it's a fair shout. For me, it's a fair shout. I mean, defenders never get the praise that obviously people who go and score goals do in that sort of position. But certainly the guy, I can't name another player in the Premier League that's more consistent than he is. I mean, people are going to shout Vardy and Mahrez, but they've had little slumps in this season, even they have. So I think that Monreal is a player who should be up there for that sort of accolade. But yeah, the defence of me is paramount to us going forwards and trying to stay in the title race, because we can score goals, but if we're conceding, then that's going to be the main issue.
No, I agree. I definitely agree. It's one of them ones where you got to start from the back and work your way forward. If you've got a good defence, then you're going to have a good attack and a good midfield.
And Tom, I agree. Just to interject, I think I've seen your Montreal love. I'm one of those guys as well, who says everyone goes Gaga or Bellerin and Gabriel's initial rise. But I was like, Montreal, look, he's a dark horse. He's quietly there doing his job. No one's really jumping on him, and the guy gets a lot of stick. He's been this year, absolutely.
No, I definitely agree. Like, I'm one of the guys who think that Monreal, he when he came into the squad, he wasn't as good as he is now, and I think his rise has just been absolutely brilliant. Really has been, and I think because, again, to go on about it, he does the simple things really, really well. You don't notice the brilliant things that he does, and I think he's integral to our squad. He really, really is, and if he ever got injured, like a long-term injury, and Kieran Gibbs had to sort of deputise for him, I wouldn't like to think where he would be. So that says a lot about it. I know. Daniel Cronin asked me this question, and he says, does BFG start in the next game? Next game being West Ham.
West Ham.
No. He doesn't. I'm just thinking of West Ham's sort of forward line and Payet. No, I wouldn't start him. I'd stick with, when you've got a centre-back partnership that's working well, you kind of got to stick with it. And at the moment, our centre-back partnership is working well. So I personally would keep it. I've got a question for both of you. Does Mertesacker stay in the squad next season? I'll go to Tom first.
Okay, no, because I think we should be buying a centre back in the summer to come in and play week in, week out.
Akshay, do you think he stays next season?
Yes, but I think he might have to accept that he might have to deputize as potentially a second or a third choice and be a regular feature against some of the Cup or League teams, only because I think he's a great leader, and I'd like to sort of, cajole him into coming into our coaching setup.
Agreed. Yeah, I don't think he'll be a starter next season, but I would have him in and around the squad just because of the experience that he brings, and working with the youngsters. And I don't think there's enough of that. And he can still do a job. He can still come in and sort of do things when we need to. We can't always play the same team for 38 games, and then in the Champions League as well, in the League Cup and the FA Cup. There are times where you're going to need to rest our starting centre backs. So I definitely agree. All right, we'll do a couple more. This is from Greg Garlow. Theo, Jack, Ramsey, Ox. If two of them have to go, who would you choose? To both of you.
Theo, Jack, Ramsey, and Ox. Two have to go. Come on. This is like which is your favorite child? Theo only if a 25 million plus offer comes in,
You'd be lucky.
and then yeah, that's why I said, right? It's one of those. I want to attach the English player premium on him, 25 million,
Yeah,
and somebody outside the top four, I would consider it. Jack Wilshere, if he breaks down again this season, he has to go.
I agree with those two. I think Theo, I've already said my points on, and Jack because his injury record is too. I know that Ramsey is the injury prone one out of the two, but just Jack's style is the reason he gets injured so often, and I think that he could be one more serious injury away from his career being over. So you never know. So I know he's been extremely. I've heard from people who know the guy that he's been very, very careful about his recovery. So. It'll be interesting to see what he does when he comes back. But if someone comes in with a huge bid for Jack, then I think that it's something that's got to be looked at seriously.
No, I definitely agree. I mean, I personally, I kind of been saying this mutely, but I would, if an offer came in for Jack this season, I would sell him just because I don't think we can afford to keep carrying people. And Jack has missed, 3/4 of the season, and I just think that he's taking up a space in the squad that someone else who is fit could do a job on. So personally, I would let Jack go. Okay, last question. This is from Rude Everything Rude, and I'll put this to Tom. Should Kris share his Pirates of the Caribbean money he earned from being extra in Stunt Double?
So what?
Oh gosh.
I think that Kris should take any money he gets, but yeah. Honestly,
he should. What Kris should do is put it in an offshore account. Get it?
Oh, Akshay. I've got a quick question I want to kind of ask. Sort of, Tom sort of talk about this kind of a little bit. Do we find, as Arsenal fans, it hard to sort of praise players from other squads? And I just because I'm watching sort of the Liverpool Tottenham game now, and it came up in the last pod, like people say that or Arsenal fans say, oh, Harry Kane is not that good, or waiting for him to get found out and things like that. I personally, I hate the team he plays for. I do. I can't stand the team he plays for. But you have to give it to the guy. You have to give credit where credit's due. And I personally think Harry Kane is. I haven't seen it, but he's a good player.
Yeah.
And as Arsenal fans, do we find it hard to praise players from other teams?
Yeah. I think this is great because Kris isn't here, so we can actually do this. We can hijack this. I'm sorry, guys. Anyone in the chat, if any of you think that Harry Kane is you can call him shit, you can do whatever you want because he plays for Spurs, and that you're well within your rights to do that. Harry Kane is an extremely good young striker. And he's very, very worrying in terms of playing us. I'm praying that someone stupid will pay 80 million for the guy. But for the guy, what he's scoring at the age he is someone who you'd look at and you'd be like, oh, why aren't Real Madrid and Barcelona in for this guy? Someone who's scoring 30 goals in all competitions for consecutive seasons in his early 20s. Will be on the radars of the likes of Real Madrid. I mean, they're looking for strikers, so I think he'll certainly be a name on their list. But I just think that if you can't give credit to someone who plays for a team that you hate, then you're not appreciating football enough. Just my opinion of it.
That's exactly. I mean, that's a great segue into what I was going to say as well, Karl. I don't think it's an Arsenal.
Sorry to interject you, but Jake Zappa just puts it perfectly. He's a big cunt, but he scores goals.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I don't think it's an Arsenal fan problem. It's essentially a general football problem because look, I mean, I've been watching football since essentially 2000. So we used to get Arsenal and the Premier League in India in like 2002, 2003. So I saw a full year before the Invincible season and the Invincible season. And obviously back then we didn't really have Twitter, we didn't really have the Facebook, so you didn't have the age of the internet meme and name calling. So generally your discussion was limited to, oh, did you see that goal he scored? And you were appreciating the beauty of the game and what people did. when you had the increase of things like Twitter and you had more 16-year-olds getting behind Photoshop, that's when you got into the whole name-calling age of saying that, oh, that guy's a cunt and that guy can't play for shit and all of that stuff, right? Which carries on and it dominates the cyberspace that we're living and working in, but it's just people like us sometimes who appreciate the beauty of the game that say that, all right, he plays for Spurs, he's a good guy. I mean, think about it, right? Ronaldo and Messi themselves have appreciation for each other, and they play for probably the bitterest of rivals.
Yeah, oh, definitely. I
No,
mean,
I agree. It's just something I just wanted to put out there because
yeah,
I think as Arsenal fans we do find it hard. Like I said, I can't stand the team he plays for. I hate them with a passion. I don't like them, but you kind of have to sometimes appreciate the individual. And he is a good player. And I just think when I read Twitter and have people say that, oh, he's shit. He's not shit. And people say wait for him to get found out. He's done it. People saying that last season, and he's continued doing it this season. He had a slow start at the beginning of the season that I can remember, and people were saying, "Oh, see, look, he's not as good," but he's got what 22, 23 goals,
yeah.
something like that. So, it's brilliant. So, good luck to him. At the end of the day, but at the end of the day, we are Arsenal. We want to be above Spurs, and hopefully Liverpool will take points from them today. And next week we go on to West Ham and beat West Ham.
Yeah, you got to hope, haven't you? I mean, we've got 10 minutes left. Don't tip me, Peter. Ozil better than Kane. Yeah.
By the way, this might sound just like butting in, but we were talking about Jack Wilshere right before this. I was reading this article, and he's actually since the 2009-10 season, he spent 900 days in the sick room. So that's about 2.5 years. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's about 2.5 years, or if you count in seasons, that's 3.2 seasons worth of game time.
Yeah, he spent more time in there than he has on the pitch.
Yep.
So.
I mean, it's horrible to say. I mean, I know what because John says the same thing. Like, it's not my money, so spend it. But for me, if you're paying someone, and Wilshere's on about 100 grand a week,
Easy.
like I don't know if he's gonna get his whole wage while he's injured.
Usually they do.
But see, for me, if you're paying someone 100 grand a week, and you could easily bring someone else in who's not injury prone and could easily do a job for the team on the pitch. So you have to wonder, is it worth keeping him in the squad?
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so we've got 10 minutes left, and there's only one thing you can really talk about when you've got time that you could probably talk about for hours, and that's transfers. Oh, we love transfers here, don't we? I mean, the chat box is now going to light up. I mean, how many people got listening? 65. Wait till that's turned to 665 all of a sudden, because we're talking about transfers.
Ibrahimovic. Somebody's going to say Ibrahimovic.
Yeah, he scored a couple today for PSG. That one team league that is the French league. Kris will love me for saying that. But no, I think that I'm going to give you guys the ultimatum and say I'm going to give you 3 names. Think realistically. Who do you want? Oh, I can guess what one of yours is going to be, Karl. But Akshay, give us 3 names that you would like realistically to come in.
So I don't even know.
3 players you want to go out of the club as well.
So that one's easier. Not counting up, obviously, as stating the obvious of the retirements and the exits. Obviously, Flamini is going to go. Arteta is going to become a coach. Rosicky is going to go. But like I said earlier, if we get a big offer for Jack, might want to consider that. I'm sorry, not Jack. Theo. Players that I would want to come in. I'd like to see Aymeric Laporte as a center back. I don't know how easy or how difficult that's going to be. I don't know what your views are on that, Tom. Because if it is difficult, especially if Man City is interested, I'm not interested in going in a bidding war against.
They are activating his release clause.
Yeah, so that's not a contest I want to get into, but one can always wish. I'm not going to jump on the Granit Xhaka train, but I am going to say that another central defensive midfielder or a box-to-box would be kind of nice. And in terms of striking options, I would have liked to see, again, one can only dream, right? But somebody to the likes of Lewandowski, just because we can afford it. But I think he's signing an extension at Bayern Munich, so something obnoxious like that is going to be out of the question. But I wouldn't mind seeing Emerick Aubameyang, just because, again, it's one of my fantasy wish lists. I've seen, the way Welbeck is springy, does the give and go, and I'd like to see more of that, just with a bigger, stronger finish.
Yep,
So
Karl.
one in each position.
Yep, that's fine. Oh, quickly before Karl, the three players you want that you think should be sold this summer.
Three players, like I said, right, including the guys who would be going out because of retirements or expirations.
Yeah.
Them, player Theo, 25 million. Somebody comes in, they can have him. I think Carl Jenkinson needs to go out on loan, not necessarily sold. Matthew
Okay.
Debussy should go, so that we can get some money.
Okay. Karl.
The three players I'd like in. Gaia, definitely. I just think
Yeah.
he's just a ready replacement for
Nacho.
Nacho when he goes, definitely. Jonathan Tah, because I'm really starting to like
You
Jonathan
love that
football.
guy.
And Jonathan Tah, I think he's just, he's absolutely brilliant. If
Start
you haven't,
watching Bundesliga and come over to Spain.
seriously, if you, so like I said, Kris is starting to get me into sort of European football, and for me, Jonathan Tah, he's just absolutely brilliant. He really is. Like, he's everything that we need in a centre back. He's strong, he's quick, he is a ready-made centre back. But my other problem is that I think that Bayern Munich also know this as well, and I think they'll go for him. And I would go for Goetze as well. I just think that we could get him from Bayern Munich. I genuinely do. He's not starting for Bayern Munich for some unknown reason, so I think that we could easily get him. But I think we'd need to go early because with the new manager coming in, he may play him. So I think if we was to go for him really, really
Do you
early.
prefer Kroos to Goetze?
No, I
No.
would prefer Goetze definitely, just because um, I think he can sort of provide more. I think we have enough centre midfielders. I mean, for me, Cruz will be competing with Ramsey, with El Nene, for that,
That's not saying much.
and also and also with Santi, because you've got to remember that Santi's coming back as well. So you're talking potentially four people vying for one position next to Coquelin. So um, personally, no. But I would definitely go for Goetze because I think he's gettable. He's definitely obtainable. If we went early and hard, fast, like I genuinely think we could get him.
And the three players you think will be sold or loaned out?
Are we talking
I'm
barring the
talking
three?
sold and loaned out. I'm not talking like Arteta, Flamini,
All right,
etc.
sold Walcott. Will definitely go. I think our goalkeeper will go.
Ooh.
I think he'll definitely go.
Ospina?
No, Chesney. I think he'll go, and I think possibly Gibbs will go as well.
That's a good shout. Yeah. Okay. I'll go the three out first because it's just so much easier. Yeah, I agree with Gibbs. I think Gibbs will be sold. I think Walcott should be sold, but I don't think he will. I think the manager's got way too much faith in him to sell
We can
him.
hope.
But, yeah, you can always hope. And I have a weird feeling that Ospina might go as well. I really think that will want more game time, and we've checked there. I don't think he's going to get that. I think he could be looking for more game time elsewhere, and Wenger might keep Szczesny instead. Three players to bring in. First one is one I've been saying for ages, and I've already said him on here, Conor Plianka of Sevilla. The guy, I'd like him to play on the left. I know you might say that's going to stunt Iwobi's progress, but Iwobi learning off a guy like that. This guy's like 26, going to be 27 next year, so Iwobi's certainly got plenty of years left in him to improve and still get into the side. In terms of a defensive, you've said Gaia and Tar, so I won't nick yours. I am desperate for the Uruguayan centre-back Jimenez from Atletico Madrid. This guy, for me, is the best young centre-back in the world right now. I know you said Laporte, Akshay, but for me, Jimenez is the best young guy. He's brilliant. He dives at the ball with his head, for goodness sake. I mean, that's just a trait that you want in everyone.
Yeah.
And in terms of a midfielder, see, I'm more looking at a striker because I really want a striker, and I know that everyone in the chat wants a striker. And I'm going to go with Soriano from Red Bull Salzburg. No, I'm not. I think Benzema's going to be available in the summer. I think Real Madrid are going to sell him. I think they're going to be looking for someone else. And a lot
Too
of
high
people,
risk, though.
for me, he's not, because I watch Real Madrid pretty much every week, and if there's one guy you can rely on to finish, it's Benzema. The only
That's
problem
not
with
what
it,
I meant, though,
I
Tom.
know
I
what you
meant
meant. It's to
yeah,
do with the social
criminal stuff.
the social
Yeah.
side of things, yeah,
Yeah.
which is an issue. If that doesn't count, I'll have Benzema. If it does, then I'll go for Batshuayi of Marseille because he seems to be on fire at the moment. So yeah, there's my three names. We've hit the hour mark, and I wanted to do that because I wanted to prove to Kris that you can do a radio show in 1 hour and get out. So I thank you all for listening. Greg Gallo has reminded me that I should plug last week's pod because it really was a really quite good one. So
Yes,
please
it
go
was.
check that out with Tim Payton, Andrew, Mr. Fife, our own Kris, Danny and Gim, as always. So please do go check that
It
out.
really was. It was absolutely. I said to Kris that I thought it was one of the
Yeah.
best I've heard. It was brilliant.
Really good discussion on finances, on transfers, on everything you'd like. So yeah, please do go check that out. It's on our iTunes, on YouTube, all the right places. There'll be a pod in midweek, I'm sure. I'm sure the guys. I haven't got any news on the lineup, but just keep an eye on the Twitter feed or just harass Danny. Danny will tell you if you just harass him. Just send
Yeah,
him pictures. Send him
everyone
pictures
just
of
tweet.
kittens.
I'll just tweet. Everyone just tweet Danny pictures of plug sockets on with nothing
Yes.
in them.
Any
Everyone do that.
OCD
Everyone.
stuff. Like teacups, like halfway off the edge of a table. He loves that sort of stuff. So
Oh, good.
send him
We got
stuff
plenty of
like
those.
that. He will love it. So yeah, okay. So thank you for listening, guys. I hope I've done my best to not replace, fill in for Kris. I'm not replacing Kris. Yeah, this has been a Burkout Wonderland radio show. Thank you for listening, and we will see you next time.
Goodbye, everyone.